What kind of a social media legacy are you leaving for your grandchildren? Um, Let me explain what I mean by that. Yesterday, I read that there are companies that you can hire that will use your social media presence, your profile, whatever, to recreate a reasonable facsimile of you. Either a video or just answer like Siri would or something like, and you can preserve that for succeeding generations. It's like $125 to $625. And here's what the article said. It says the company interviews clients about critical moments in their lives. Those answers are used to create a Siri-like chatbot. If your great-grandchildren, for instance, wanted to learn how you met your spouse, they could ask the bot and it would answer in your voice. I want to talk about that a little bit today and give you some of my thoughts, but also something from the book of Proverbs. Good morning. Thanks for watching. As you can see, we're back outside. I had a couple blue jays yesterday that probably are not happy about me being here. So if there's blue jays pecking at my head, you'll realize how mean and angry blue jays actually are. Anyway, always glad that you're here to watch us. You're invited to join us at church on Sundays at 10:15 if you're anywhere in the area. This Saturday we are having our giveaway of school supplies and clothes. They'll start at 9 o'clock for as long as they last, and they usually don't last very long. So if you happen to be watching because you're a new follower of New Horizons Fellowship Facebook page, that's about all you need to know. We're at 1330 Whirling Road here in New Haven, Indiana. Anyway, today's section of jokes are not really related to our topic, but since the Olympics are on, I thought I'd do some athletic or Japan-related jokes. I love watching the different Olympic sports, things that I've never seen before. Kind of cool, handball, archery, just weird things. So these are today's jokes in honor of the Tokyo Olympics. How do you say "sup dog" in Japanese? Konnichiwa. I told that one to my daughter, and she didn't think it was very funny. Anyway, have you ever tried blindfolded archery? You don't know what you're missing. There you go. Today I learned that if you flip a canoe over, they have canoe racing, kayak racing, whatever we're calling it in the Olympics. Today I learned that if you flip a canoe over, you can wear it as a hat because it's capsized. Good stuff. All right, so back to today's topic. A few years ago, I got into doing my ancestry and seeing how many generations I could go back, what country did we originally come from, and so forth. And it was really interesting. If you think history is boring, you should try digging into your ancestors' backgrounds. Admittedly, some are easier than others because I tried to do the other side of the family, and it was much more difficult. And there may be some cases that you may not be happy about what you find. Perhaps there's criminals and things like that, which I found some of those as well. But it's likely that it'll make you even more curious about how did they live, what was their life like, and so forth. And maybe some cases where you can be proud of them. As I was doing my ancestry, I began to wonder about their lives, how they lived, where they worked, what they believed. And of course, in my ancestry, there were some pastors, which was kind of a surprise, but then again, not really. But I also began to wonder if they ever thought about the generations after them. I tend to think that they didn't, but it certainly made me think about the generations that are going to come after me, and what would I want the generations after me to know. If they were researching their ancestry and discovered me, what would they find? So let me ask you that same question. What do you want generations after you to know about you? What kind of a legacy are you leaving, recording, or preserving for your children and grandchildren? Think about that. We live in a new day and age. Back then, there were some records when I was researching my ancestry that there were no written records of births and marriages and things like that because they just didn't exist. They didn't keep them. But now it is legitimately possible to keep records of everything. Like what I'm recording right now could be recorded and preserved for who knows how many years. It could be that there's a time when Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, all those things don't exist anymore, but it's likely that the records still will exist. So when I started by asking you what kind of a social media legacy, if your descendants hundreds of years from now were to search into your social media profile and what you had preserved and favorited and shared and so forth, what would they discover about you? We had a garage sale last week, and we found some old cassette tapes. Some of you will know what those are, of some old sermons I had preached, I don't know, more than 10, 20 years ago. And I wanted to listen to them to see what I had said, if it's that much different than what I would have said now, or if I had improved any. And I thought, I'll save them for the future. So I was thinking, I'll put them on CD or digital format, whatever it is what's possible to do now. The one I listened to, there's nothing on it anymore. I guess it's too old. But hopefully, as I go through the other ones, we'll find some stuff. But I want to tie this into the book of Proverbs today. In Proverbs 13:22, it says this: "A good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children, but a sinner's wealth is stored up for the righteous." Now, I think Solomon is speaking specifically there about money when he says inheritance. And inheritance is generally considered to be about money. But let's think about this in a different way. Money is only part of an inheritance that you can leave, especially in our days with all the technology, the ways we have to preserve images and video and audio and all those sorts of things. Sometimes the most important inheritance you can leave is a record of your thoughts. And about, I don't know, a few weeks ago, in the last week or so, I urged you to make preparations for your funeral, right? Including the arrangements for who's going to do the service and all that sort of thing. But today I want to encourage you to do something else. If you are if you're not a Marvel fan, I'll explain this to you. But in one of the Marvel movies, Endgame, one of the main, hope this is going to, spoiler alert for Avengers Endgame, one of the main characters dies. And afterwards, there is an image of him kind of giving his own funeral. He kind of had a sense that he was going to die, so he had recorded this message, and it's a hologram and so forth, which we can actually do those nowadays. But and so he recorded his own funeral, anticipating that, and that was part of the service, that his family actually got to see him, telling them, "Well, this is not going to go well, I'm afraid." Da da da. And so he gives instructions. I have done similar things to that. At other people's funerals. I have read letters that people have written. One in particular was not written in this for his own funeral, but he had written it to someone else. But the content of it was so clear about what he would have wanted people to say about him at his funeral. So I just read it, and afterwards some of his family came and asked me for the letter, and so I gave them copies of that. It's his way of recording his legacy for them. So even if you don't write a letter, I encourage you to make some notes, record a video. I told my congregation about a year ago that when we started doing Facebook Lives, we were doing them on Sundays and Tuesday and Thursday, I think, as well, but that these Facebook Lives would serve as a record for my descendants to know me better. And maybe you're camera shy. I know it's really hard. You'll get over it. I had the same experience and hesitation at first. But this is now a way where more than 100 of these videos that my descendants 100 years from now, decades from now, even millennia, I guess, could go back, and as they research their ancestry and as they find me, they will have a clear picture of what I said and think and believe. And this is what I want them to know, even generations that I would never meet. So let me speak specifically to those generations that are descendants of me that might be watching this right now. Here's what I'd want you to know, and I'd say this to not just those who are my descendants, but anyone watching, that serving God is the best life choice you could ever make. I don't know what you're experiencing, how difficult or easy your life has been. I don't know what the world situation is, what it's like that you're going through right now. but I hope that you're not going through it alone. A life committed to following Christ will not always be easy, but it will be better. Not talking about necessarily financially or physically. Maybe you have health issues. Maybe you're just struggling to get by day to day. But when you have a life committed to following Christ, you have confidence because you have hope and a reason to keep on pressing through every day. And that's, as I said, that's not just a prayer for my ancestors, but for all of us today. So if you're out there and that's something that you don't understand, feel free to contact me, and all the contact info is in the information for this tweet, Instagram, Facebook, whatever you're watching on. But I want to pray for you today that you can get a sense of the ultimate confidence and hope that you can have in following Christ. So let me pray. Father, I thank you for just the technology that allows us to preserve, to speak in the present and in the future to those who may be watching this. Thank you again for the confidence and hope that your word and your presence, your spirit bring. And I pray for anyone watching this in whatever day and time it may be, even years from today. I pray that you can make yourself real and bring that sense of comfort and hope to those who are watching. And I ask this in Christ's name. Amen. Well, thanks for being here. Today has been, as I speak in the present moment, July 27th, 2021. So I don't know what day you're watching or what year or millennia, but my prayer is that you'll be able to find and know and love and serve God, because that is one of the critical themes of my life. So God bless. Have a great day, and we'll see you on Thursday.